Welcome to another episode of Rob and Avis Ramble. It's been a couple days since we've rambled. I had to take a little bit of a trip, so that was a few days out of my life. And yeah, I saw something actually on that note that somebody said. I can't remember what account it was. I saw on X, and they said something to the effect that they pack for their husband whenever they need to take a trip. And some people found that controversial.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I said that you always pack for me. I mean, you pretty much always have. I don't find that controversial at all.
Yeah, I mean, I have friends. It goes both ways. Sometimes the lady packs for the man, and sometimes the man packs for himself.
Yeah. I'm happy to have you pack for me. I have no, I did see some men chiming in, and they were saying that, yeah, they pack. Actually, you know what? It wasn't a man. I think it was a woman that I saw saying it. That she used to pack for her husband, but then he complained about the clothes that she packed for him. He was like, I didn't want to take that shirt. And, and that has happened with us.
It has.
Yeah.
But I wash the clothes, and when I wash your clothes, I hang everything that comes from the laundry to the right side of the closet. So then when I pack for you, I pick from the right side of the closet. So therefore, I know that you've worn and must therefore like the clothes that I'm packing for you.
Yeah, that's a good strategy.
Yeah.
That is a good housewife strategy. I like it.
Yeah.
So.
And then sometimes you go way to the left, and I'm like, there's nothing down there you like.
Yeah, sometimes you're right. Yeah. And you're like, you're not going to find anything down there you want to wear.
No.
Yeah. Man, my voice, I've been doing a lot of talking today. I was on the phone a lot for work.
Yeah.
And then we just did another podcast for your other podcast that we do. I joined you on today. And so we've both been talking on that for a while.
Well, to be honest, I didn't get in a lot of words on the last one, even though it is my podcast.
Yeah, I had a lot to say. That was a topic I had a lot to say about.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. But so now I'm like, yeah, my voice is, I'm losing my voice here, I feel like.
So I wonder if these same women make sandwiches for their husbands.
I don't
pack your toiletries.
Yes, you don't pack my toiletries.
Yeah.
That's right.
I mean, that's kind of like a funny story. For years, we've traveled. I mean, we've been together for a long time. We've already established that. And for years, I would only take one toothbrush for the two of us.
Yeah.
For like over a decade. And you were finally like, hey, can I have my own toothbrush? This is kind of gross. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, I think some other people out there would find that gross too.
I've shopped that idea around. And most people are like, why didn't you just pack him his own toothbrush? And I was like, well, because one is easier to pack than two. And he never said he didn't like it for like over a decade.
Yeah.
So, my bad, but also.
I like having my own toothbrush when we travel. I like having my own toothbrush at home, which I do. I mean, nobody should worry about that. I'm well taken care of there. I've got a toothbrush.
I don't know why I started only packing one, but anyways, funny story.
A real hang up I have is actually like milk. Like I would not drink milk after you. That's disgusting.
Yeah. I don't really drink milk. So
yeah, I know you don't.
We're good there.
That's like a thing that I wouldn't drink.
Worse than a single toothbrush. Must be, because for decades you didn't say like, hey, or bring your own. Like you could have brought your own.
I could have, but you packed my stuff for me.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I just kind of had what I had. Yeah.
Things you learn.
So anyway, yeah, I don't know how controversial that is. I mean, I saw some people had a problem with it, and you've always got some women who are like, they can pack their own stuff.
Sure you can, but I usually do it.
Yeah, you usually do it, and I appreciate that you do it.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's
no.
good. It works for us.
Yeah.
So I did you have any topics? Because I have one I could potentially talk about, but
I thought I did, but then I looked back through my phone and I don't.
You don't? Okay.
No.
One of these days you're going to bring a topic.
Yeah, I was looking around and I read some controversial stuff and I tried to screenshot it, but I don't know if technology is not always my friend.
Yeah, that's why you have me in your life.
Yeah, one of the reasons. It's not my top reason, though. Let's be clear.
Not the top reason. Yeah, but it helps.
It does help.
Yeah. So there's this account that our Rob and Avis Ramble account, which we don't like. We just started that account like in the last month.
Yeah.
So like we have we're not following too many other accounts yet, but But one of the accounts that we are following is this account called the Feminist Misogynist.
Oh,
And I guess she said something that was a little controversial, like I think a couple days ago. I just happened to catch it while I was traveling, and I didn't really have much social media time at all while I was traveling. But I noticed today, after I got done with work, that there was still some discussion being had about it from something she said a couple days ago. So I think it was kind of it touched some nerves apparently.
clearly. I mean, if it lasts more than 5 minutes.
on X,
Yeah.
Twitter. Yeah. I know stuff moves so fast on there. So basically from what I gathered, I think she made some kind of comment like women should have sex with their husbands or women. I think she said women should have sex with their husbands.
Okay.
And I'd somehow that became like super controversial, and there was people accusing her of rape, of like, being like in favor of rape and like just all these kind of wild things. So I don't know. Thought we could kick that around. I mean, why not?
I did actually see something on that topic from another account that I follow from one of my personal accounts.
I wonder if they follow this same feminist, misogynistic account.
Well, they're a Christian couple, and they have a very Christian view, and they quoted the Bible where it says that you should have sex with your husband unless it's agreed upon between the two of you for a set time.
Okay.
So their basic principle was also that yes, a woman should have sex with her husband.
Yeah. I don't see how that's really controversial. I mean,
Yeah.
I think sex is a pretty important component to marriage.
Yeah.
I understand there are, I mean, I guess maybe what I should say is if this is a problem in your marriage, it's probably not this that's a problem. There's something else going on in your marriage. This is just like a weird symptom that there's other problems going on in your marriage.
Yeah. I feel like you should desire sex with your husband.
Yeah.
There's medical reasons and, pregnancy reasons that you might not want to at that particular time and moment in time. But as an overreaching arc, you should desire sex with your partner.
So these women that aren't having sex with their husbands, and then, if another woman is saying you should have sex with your husband, I mean, is that only controversial because for some reason these women don't want to have sex with their husbands and then they feel slighted because someone told them to, like, but there's something else going on there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not the sex. There's something underlying it that causes them not to want to have sex.
Sure. I mean, and women are emotional. Sex for women is emotional. So if there's something emotional happening, like you might not be super interested, like I say, in that moment in time. But again, the overreaching, over arc. I don't know what that word is I'm looking for.
Over arc?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Overall,
is that
you
what
should
this
be. Yeah,
is?
that's
Like
what this
over
is. When I can't find the word, I just make some symbol up with my hand.
Okay.
And you're supposed to know what that means.
I know what that means. Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
That.
Whatever that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't really know what else to say about that. Just that, like.
Well, I think for women, like I said, it's emotional. For men, it's, am I wrong, purely physical? Is there an emotional attachment to sex for men?
Yeah. I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know what context. I mean, I don't think it's not in the same context it is for women, right? I mean, like, do men desire sex outside of purely this physical act? Yes, I think, but it's not. It's a different type of emotional. Like it's a different. I mean, maybe women feel. Here's what I would say. I think, and I'm going to probably struggle to kind of state exactly why that is, but I think there is an emotional connection for both men and women, but it's a different type.
Yeah. I think a woman has to be in the right emotional state of mind to be desiring sex.
Okay.
And
I think I know where you're going with this. Okay.
Yeah.
So a woman, right. I mean, she's not going to really be excited for sex unless she's in a certain emotional state.
Yeah.
Versus a man, he's not as driven by his emotions as a woman is. So Yeah,
Right.
sure. He'll be able to have sex even if he's not like feeling emotionally connected to you in the same, he doesn't have to be like happy or whatever the
Right.
emotion is,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Yeah. In
Yeah.
in generalized terms. I mean, obviously there's a bell curve, but we're talking about the middle of the bell there.
Yeah. Yeah. So you think that's where those women are potentially coming from is just
Yeah. I think
they're
usually difficulties in sex for women are usually emotional.
yeah, which is not really about the sex at all. It's about something else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it should, I mean, and we're just talking out of our experience, right?
Hmm.
So like, this is not like nobody get like, I mean, we'll get super mad if you want to, but like, we're just talking about like out of our experience, out of our relationship, right? But like, I
Yeah.
mean, should a woman, if there's some kind of emotional thing going on for her that she's not as excited about sex with her husband as he might otherwise want her to be, I mean, should she just power through that and have sex with him anyways?
I think so. I'd never have I ever regretted having sex with you.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't want to at the beginning, but by the end of it, I was pretty happy.
Well, I do think, I mean, it's funny you say that because I was kind of thinking as I was asking you the question, I think sometimes, I mean, sex can kind of be the thing that can fix the underlying thing in some ways, right?
Sure,
Like
yeah.
if a man is feeling sexually neglected by his wife, or maybe vice versa,
Mm.
and he is so maybe that's like the underlying thing, and then that's coming out in his relationship and interactions with his wife in some way, and then that's making her feel a certain way and not motivating her to want to have sex.
Yeah.
So then kind of like really the underlying thing was like he just felt sexually neglected.
Yeah.
So maybe like if the wife has sex with him, and then he no longer feels sexually neglected, it kind of fixes the mental, emotional, whatever you want to call it, issue that he was having, which then changes his behavior towards her
Yeah.
and maybe fixes whatever
Sure.
was going on there, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've been together 32 years.
Mm-hmm.
We have 3 children between us. I don't enjoy being pregnant. You don't enjoy the pregnant body. And after you have the babies, well, then you have a baby to take care of.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that after every baby we had, I had like Wednesdays have sex with Rob because there's a lot going on in life. And to be honest, when you have an infant and then 2 other little kids running around, like it's not on the
I
top of
never
the
actually
list.
knew that we were having calendar sex.
Yeah.
This is news to me.
It's news to you?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were aware.
No.
No, after every baby, we had some calendar sex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that was like basically you were just like it was a reminder you were putting on the calendar.
I mean,
that,
I
like,
didn't actually write it on the calendar, but yeah.
Okay. But it was just like a mental check for you that like if we hadn't connected in a sexual way
Yeah.
since
Wednesday was the day for some reason.
If it hadn't been since Wednesday, which I don't think was really ever a problem for us.
No.
I mean, you're right. I wasn't too excited about you being pregnant.
Yeah. I mean,
we love our kids. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong.
I said the
like,
pregnancy body.
yeah, it's just the pregnancy process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Neither one of us were excited about that.
And especially like right after you've had the kid, and
Yeah.
there's a little bit of healing time in there, and then there's, you got kids up in the middle of the night, and you're just a walking zombie for a little while, just trying to. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, so just a mental check-in. Obviously the weekends were a little easier to remember to have sex because you're home, you're not working, but by Wednesday, have we done that yet today or this week? No. Okay. Let's put that on the list for the day when Rob comes home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean because emotionally I was just tired. Physically I was tired. When you are just having a kid and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
we had calendar sex.
Yeah, we had calendar sex. Interesting.
That's good. You didn't know.
Yeah,
See,
I
I
didn't
did it
know.
right.
Yeah, you must have done something right. So do we? And that's not like a forever thing, right? I mean, that was just around these periods of kind of higher stress,
Yeah.
moments in life where you're getting preoccupied with other stuff.
Yeah.
And you just were wanting to be cognizant enough to say, hey, I know that sex is a need for my husband, right? And
Yeah.
like in a different way than it's a need for me as a wife.
Right.
And I
Yeah.
want to make sure that that need is being met in my role as a wife. So I'm gonna kind of just make sure during this period that that's still happening and not getting pushed to the wayside.
Yeah.
And then kind of when we get past that period, I mean, you're not still putting stuff on the calendar, are you?
No.
Okay, that's good.
I'm just like you said, it was just a period of time. But there is like a physiological difference between men and women. Like it's known the more sex women have, the more sex women want to have. So like as a woman, if you just put it on the back burner, it's easy to be like, I'm just not having sex right now. And you like, if you're not participating in the act, your body is like, from a woman's standpoint, for a certain amount of time, we can be like, okay, not thinking about that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if it's the same for a man.
It's not.
Yeah, I think a man, it's like
The men are almost reversed.
the longer you go, the more it's like,
yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. I can't remember what book or something. I mean, gosh, this is probably decades ago. I read something or an article or something, and they described it as kind of like a rubber band, where it's like for a man, it's like it's like you have sex and the rubber band is relaxed, but then like the longer you go, the more it's stretching, getting tighter and tighter, and you got to let the tension go.
For a woman, it's not really like that.
Yeah.
If you're not like thinking about it and participating in it, your mind can just be like.
So there's some biological differences between men and women. This is shocking to me.
I mean, obviously a woman is going to hit a certain point in time where she's like, yeah, I need sex, but it's not the same.
Yeah, it's not the same. There's some
women can.
There's some differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't interfere with their thinking or anything like that, like a man.
Yeah. No, I don't know what to say about that, but I can only talk about it from a man's experience, from a point of view, right? But
yeah. But I think that's another important reason for women to like calendar sex is important, because when you need it, calendar sex is important, because if you just stop thinking about it from a woman's standpoint, you could be like, oh, wow, it's been a month.
Yeah, which I don't think has ever been a thing in our relationship, has it?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I think from that standpoint, we've always had a very healthy connection.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, after kids, calendar sex is a thing.
Like right after pregnancy, you're saying, yeah. I think I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's just like, that kind of nudge that, doesn't get lost by the wayside. Which I do think. I mean, if we've talked about this before, but in kind of the hierarchy of men's and women's needs, sex is pretty high up there on a man's chart. So if he's not getting it, it's going to be detrimental to the relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
But for a woman, like, we can bump that down unless you focus on it. And like, the more you focus on it, the more you want it. So then it kind of like moves back up, and then the woman prioritizes it a little more.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Somebody's not going to like that you said that. Somebody won't like what I said either, but that's okay.
Well,
yeah. We're adults. We're well into adulthood. It's okay. Well into adulthood.
Yeah. But
so,
every time a man wants sex, does a woman have to have sex? Or is there a leeway for I'm really not feeling it tonight.
I think that's where the controversy was coming in, and maybe some misunderstanding.
I think that's.
I would not say I don't know. I'm trying to think of some scenario, right? A woman just went through some traumatic experience, or maybe I don't even know. She lost her best friend, or something happened, right? And she's in this kind of distraught emotional state because of whatever happened. And if the husband is yeah, that event didn't bother me at all. Take your clothes off and let's have sex. I mean, I think if you're doing that, you're kind of an ass, right? Your job and your role as a husband is to be a caretaker of your wife, the same as she's a caretaker of you, right? And if you're just gonna kind of not care about your wife's emotional state, and thinking that this kind of understanding that for women they kind of need to be, they should. It's better for them if they're going to be, maybe need isn't the right word, but it's going to be better, it's going to be more enjoyable if it's in the right emotional state.
Yeah.
And kind of forcing your wife, through that when she's not in the emotional state. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't think that's being very caring as a husband. And, there's some other stuff going on under the covers, right? That like,
Yeah.
so maybe that's what people were getting upset about. I don't know from what I've read, I mean, that's not what I understood. This feminist misogynist. I wish I knew her name. Sorry.
Yeah, there is a strong group in society that believe if the husband wants to have sex, the woman can't say no.
Yeah, and maybe that's where it's. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
sure, let's go down that road. Why not? So, yeah, I mean, can a woman say no? So, is it always solely up to the husband? I mean, does he have free domain over his wife's body? And damn it, she's going to have sex with him no matter what emotional state she's in, whether she wants to or not. Or, does a wife have some leeway? I
Yeah.
mean, I think, legally, I think the way our legal system is set up, yeah, the wife has some leeway. Like,
Right.
I think, you could potentially end up in some legal trouble there. But, I just can't, I'm struggling to kind of imagine as a husband who cares about his wife that you would even put your wife in that situation.
Yeah.
So like, to me, it's like, I don't know. I'm struggling. I'm guessing it happens. I mean, it must, because I saw people, I guess that's kind of what they were referring to. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and it's biblical that if your husband wants sex, you're supposed to have sex. Like it says that in the Bible.
I'm struggling to know what verse and chapter we're talking about
Yeah,
there.
of course I don't know. I've read it like 2 or 3 different times this week.
Okay. Yeah. We'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
Just paging through here, trying to think where that maybe could be. Somebody out there will know.
I
If
almost
it's a
never know the
thing.
verse.
But we'll just go with it and say it's biblical. I mean, it says
yeah,
it says
what
that man
end?
leaves his wife and and they become one flesh. I don't know if that's what you're thinking of. But I mean, so like sex, I mean, it's a normal part of marriage.
Yeah.
Right. So what's the underlying problem? Right. If you're in this state where you're even having to contemplate this,
Yeah.
like my wife doesn't want to have sex with me. Am I supposed to be forcing my wife to have sex with me?
Yeah.
That's not really the problem. That's not the topic, right?
Yeah.
What's going on
There
below
needs to be
that?
another hard discussion.
There needs to be another hard discussion of like, what is happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it's not really, the sex is kind of the, it's not, I don't know. I mean, you want to have sex when your relationship's good.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. So if you're not having sex, what is the problem? It's not actually the sex, it's something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay, let's go back to that statement. It's not always the sex. So when you're in a new relationship and marriage, sex is just starting. Maybe it is the sex. Maybe that is the hard conversation. How do you open up that conversation and be like, hey, you're not doing the move right? To use Seinfeld as a reference. Although they weren't married.
Yeah. I remember that with Putty, right? No, yeah, I think that's the
And
episode.
George.
George? Oh, George.
Somebody told George the move, I think.
Oh, maybe. I can't remember. And then somebody accused him of stealing the move.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So like that has to be, I mean, I think that can be a sticky conversation as well.
So I think what you're talking about now is you've got a newly married couple. They are not sexually experienced with one another.
Right.
And so you're saying like maybe the sex is
could be better.
Could be better. So I think, but on whose behalf, right? I mean, I think I would say one of two things. Like, so maybe one of the individuals in this relationship has had previous sexual experience that, more so than their partner. And, so maybe they're kind of equating it to that. But if you kind of like go back to what I'd like to call the natural order in the way that, we typically hope things would be going. And I know there's a lot of men out there that would argue with me, and that's fine. You can argue with me. But, I think, really like sex outside of marriage. I mean, sure, everybody does it. You and I did it before we got married. I get it. It's a reality of the world. But I think, ideally you would both kind of be virgins going into marriage, right?
I wasn't going where you went with that.
Okay.
I wasn't saying either one of them were comparing it to anything previous. I was just saying they didn't find all of the activity enjoyable.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we're talking about the same thing. I mean, where I was going with it is that, so if you make the assumption that you're both kind of going into this inexperienced, yeah, I mean, you're gonna maybe struggle through some stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like you're not experienced at sex, like
Yeah.
that's just a reality, right? But then if you kind of have like a couple of people that are maybe unequally yoked because one has more sexual experience than the other outside of their marriage, then I could also potentially see that as a potential contributing factor, right? So you've got like, the man or the woman who just doesn't, they just simply don't have enough experience. And just like anything else in life, it's gonna, you got to practice till you make it perfect.
Fake
right?
it till you make it.
Yeah, I guess.
Ow.
So,
I have a pain in my chest from that laugh.
I'm so darn funny. I'm gonna give you a heart attack or something.
That took a weird turn.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, what else? What else are your thoughts on this? I mean, we beat it up enough, or we?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, hopefully, if you're in the right relationship, you're desiring sex with your partner. If something is giving you a mental, emotional, or physical block against that, it's time for a hard discussion.
Yeah. It's like, so you say, so again, let's go back to the beginning of the topic. Women have sex with your husbands. Yes, agreed.
Yeah.
But like, husbands should you be forcing your wife to have sex with you? Like, I don't think that's the topic. There's something else going on. If your wife doesn't want to have sex with you, there's something else going on. Like, go figure that out.
Yeah.
You guys go have discussion. Like have the hard discussion, like whatever it is, right? Because this is not going anywhere good. If your wife isn't wanting to have sex with you, or vice versa, if your husband isn't wanting to have sex with you, it's not the sex. It's something else. So go have the hard
100%.
discussion. Like, do you want to live in misery and not having sex? Or do you want to kind of open a can of worms of like, well, why is it we aren't having sex? Like, what is it? Go figure that out. Like, that's the thing. And that's the sort of thing I think is going to give you, if you really are invested in that relationship, those are the discussions you need to have. You need to work that out.
Yeah.
Because you might throw some dirt over it and maybe, your wife forces herself to have sex with you, but the problem didn't resolve itself.
Yeah.
Right. And I feel pretty confident in saying that if whatever that underlying thing is, that's not getting resolved, like if you resolve it, the sex that you are having, if your wife is like forcing herself to have sex with you or vice versa, the sex is going to be a lot better once you work out whatever that thing is, right? Whatever that actual underlying thing is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I don't know. I mean, seems pretty clear cut to me. I'm sure somebody probably has a million reasons why everything we said was really stupid and we're uninformed or whatever, but that's how we see it. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
I think we're on pretty much the same page with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. Is there any other topics we should beat up on? Talk about?
I don't know. You hit me out of left field with that other one, but
Yeah.
nose itches today. Allergies.
Allergies. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what else is going on in the news. We got, I think, Russia has some, some warships sitting off the coast of Florida and Cuba. I saw.
Right.
So that's a thing. From what I'm not an expert on any of the stuff we talk about, right?
No. Well, you might be an expert on sex.
I'm an expert on sex. Maybe I'm an expert. Ooh, everybody hear that? I am an expert on sex.
I just snorted.
Yeah. I mean, I don't pretend to know all the ins and outs and of the whole what's going on there. But my understanding is, Russia. Well, I heard that Russia basically labeled the U.S. an enemy. It's the first time that that's been said, at least under Putin, that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
And they sent some warships and a nuclear sub and some stuff out to Cuba, and they've docked there, I think. And I think, it's not the first time that's happened. I do think that I think it was said they were doing some training out there. I think it's been a few years since they've done any training like that. And I think with kind of the current tensions in the world,
Yeah.
and kind of the pressure that the U.S. is putting on Russia via Ukraine and all the stuff going on there, it's it's a little tricky right now. It's like, why are these Russian warships off of our coast when Russia has called us an enemy?
Yeah.
And so I think there's been some of the speculation I've heard, basically is that, just like we have now, the U.S. is providing weapons to an enemy of Russia directly so that the enemy can use those weapons to strike inside of Russia. I think that's kind of, what they're talking about Russia is doing here with us. Like, there's going to be weapons left behind in Cuba that, kind of make their way there and maybe elsewhere. And,
Yeah.
that'll be stationed much closer to our borders that could potentially be used on the U.S. So,
Yeah.
tensions are definitely heating up. And I always I'm always kind of, I just think governments are just so corrupt, right? They're just so corrupt, and I often find myself kind of asking, like, well, is all this really just for the purpose of getting us spun up and being like, oh my God, Russia's off our coast? Like, because
Right.
it's like they want us, they want us getting scared. They want us beating the war drum. They want us supporting the U.S. saying, oh, we gotta make more weapons. We gotta get ourselves prepared for. We gotta go fight these wars. We gotta do these things. Meanwhile, like, are all the leaders of these countries just like, yeah, like, hey, we're all getting rich off of this, right? We're just gonna
Yeah.
posture and all that.
Ooh, maybe it's another ploy to get Trump elected because things were better with Russia when Trump was in office, correct?
Yeah, I think most people would agree.
So
with
maybe
that.
they're like, Russia's like, we'll just park some boats over there so that
Well,
just
I mean,
bump old Biden out.
If you believe Hillary Clinton, when Trump was arrested, sorry, yeah, that happened too. Not in 2016. When Trump was elected in 2016, I mean, Hillary Clinton basically said Russia stole the election, right?
Right.
I think a
Yeah.
lot of people forget that the Democrats were saying that, Russia stole the election, right? And then
Yeah.
in 2020, they were like, the elections are secure. Nobody steals elections, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, so, I mean, that would lend to this idea that, Russia, if you believe that, was more in favor of Donald Trump being in power in the U.S., maybe because he was more friendly towards Russia. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, it seems like they do, but I really can't imagine any world where a president wants to go to war. Like, it's just not good for your people.
Yeah, but it's profitable for some people, and that's the thing. So that's
It's not profitable for the people that have their kids in the military.
No, it's not. It's not. It's war is never a good thing. I don't care what your justification is.
Yeah.
Like, there's got to be like, and the sad part about it is it's not really the people, it's the leaders of these countries. So you know what? You guys go fight it out. You guys go find a field, get some weapons, you fight it out, leave the people out of it that don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah. And I think we talked about this previously, but it used to be almost every president had served in the military. And of late, that hasn't really been the fact.
No. Yeah. And it is kind of hard to imagine the commander in chief not really having been in the military and kind of being exposed to that life, right?
Yeah.
And making decisions about the lives of these young men and women that are in the military. So yeah, it's so anyways, I don't know. Like, I mean, some days I'm like, it's just baloney, a ploy to get everybody scared, because somebody's going to profit from people being scared. Maybe all these corrupt countries are going to profit from it, right?
Yeah.
And then other days, like, maybe I get more caught up in it or I see it a little different, and I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I could see, you're getting old in age, you're the ruler of this country, and you're like, yeah, you know what? Push the button. Don't care. I'm going to die soon anyways. Push the button, right?
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know. It's just it's crazy. It's all just craziness, and the weapons have gotten so sophisticated, since any kind of huge global conflict like that has been fought.
Yeah.
And I know there's tons of speculation about, I mean, I'm forever seeing videos pop up on YouTube of they're like, what happens in the first 15 minutes of nuclear war and this and that. And like, and I think that people have built out a lot of models and things like that.
Yeah.
But, I think the honest answer is we haven't been through it. Right. And I'm absolutely certain it would be quite devastating.
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it's not hard to see. I mean, you look at Chernobyl and like just nuclear disasters and
oh yeah, radiation's awful. I mean, and that's just the after effect of the actual blast. I mean, some of these weapons, like, I mean, they have blast radiuses that are miles and miles and miles. Yeah, it's nuts.
It's crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, let's hope it doesn't come to that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's gonna be rough time for everybody. And hopefully level heads will prevail. It'd be nice to, get some people who aren't actually corrupt in government. And
you're asking for a lot.
I know. It seems like a pipe dream, right?
I think you can only get into government by being corrupt.
Yeah, at least at the upper levels. I mean, it shouldn't bash. Like, I mean, there are plenty of people that work in government that they're doing their jobs, right? But it's like the people at the upper levels of government, that are just, they're pulling the strings, they're making the decisions. I would like to think that not every single one of them is corrupt. I don't know if that's true, but there is a lot of corruption. I mean, no matter how you spin it, there is a lot of corruption. Whether it's all of them or not, I can't say. But I think anybody with a little bit of sense to themselves would say it's there's quite a bit of corruption going on there, which always leads me back to, and kind of my way of thinking, like, why on earth would you want to give those people more power over you? Like, we should be reducing the size of government. Why are we giving people with corrupt intentions more and more and more and more power over everyone's lives?
Right.
So I wish that we could just all talk some sense into each other about that topic and just understand that, like, I mean, government, it can't, no matter what. I mean, I think, government sells this idea of safety, like, give us more power. We'll keep you safe. We'll keep you fed. We'll keep you these things, right? And, the truth is, in some cases, maybe somewhere in the middle, but not fully. Like, government can't fully keep you safe, right? Government can't fully feed you. They can't. They don't have the resources to do it, even if they weren't corrupt. Yeah. And even if they wanted to, they just practically can't. So, handing over your power to take care of yourself fully to government, like, man, it just doesn't make sense. Like, why do people want to do this? And I say it doesn't make sense, but I do wonder if the people who are asking that or fighting for that or wanting that, is that because they envision themselves as the ones that will be in control of government, their party, their people, and they're like, oh, well, we'll be fine. So, this we'll be okay because we'll be in charge. Yeah. But, when I think the reality is, like, those same people that don't care about me don't care about you either.
Well, and we've seen that with people we've known in the past, slightly different, but they're like, yeah, sure, 2A laws are great, but they don't actually abide by them. Yeah. They're like, yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of a mystery on the 2A topic.
I mean, there's other laws, people would support, like drunk driving laws and speeding laws and things like that. But then you find a lot of those people are like, yeah, that's great for you, but I'm just going to do what I want. Yeah. So, I mean, I always have found that interesting.
I'm not sure I know where you're going with this.
I don't know. That was it. I just find that interesting. That, like, people in power, they want to make these laws, but then it's for thee, but not for me.
Oh, I understand what you're saying. Yes, yeah. Oh, yeah, all the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're like the worst hypocrites of like
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah,
So
it's
they're
like
okay with it because they have no intention of
of obeying it.
compliance.
Yeah, they're like, I'm above the law,
Right.
whatever. Like, these laws are fine for everyone else. Like, I don't have to worry about that. Or
Yeah.
you know, I mean, specifically, you want to talk about like gun control and those. I mean, a lot of these people at the upper echelons of government who are making decisions, I mean, they have security, they have things, right? They have
I
more
don't have to
protections.
carry a gun because the 8 people around me are carrying.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess if we want to dive down that road just for a minute, Hunter Biden got convicted today.
Oh, he did?
He did. It's an interesting discussion amongst the 2A crowd, because, you know, I mean, if you're a constitutional purist, you know, I think you would read the Constitution and, you know, you shall not be infringed when it comes to firearms.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, is it a good idea for Hunter Biden to be smoking crack and doing drugs and all these things and buying a firearm and having a firearm? Yeah, probably not. But if you want to be a constitutional purist, I mean, that law shouldn't have existed in the first place, right?
Yeah.
So it is kind of interesting, you know, that I feel like anybody who's supportive of the 2A and loosening a lot of, you know, what many people would say are unconstitutional laws aimed at gun ownership. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe there's plenty of things that Hunter Biden should be charged with, or the Biden family in general. I don't know that this gun thing was one, right? So was this just another political trial, basically, to you know, get something on the Biden family? There was kind of low hanging fruit to go after.
Yeah.
I don't know, but you know, I think you know, I think if you're in the 2A community and you're kind of a, you know, you believe in the right to bear arms, like, I don't think you should get too excited over this Hunter Biden thing, right? I mean, there's other stuff to worry about. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
Where
think
did
this
he get
was
the
it.
crack?
Yeah, where did your crack come from? Yeah. Well, I mean, if we want to take the hard line libertarian view, I mean, that should be legal too, right?
Mm-hmm.
People should be allowed to ingest what they want to ingest. I know that's like a you know, nothing's perfect.
No. I mean, you're way down the rabbit hole now.
Well, you you can you know, I mean, there's a lot of bad things that happen around drugs and all that, right? But
Yeah.
like a lot of those things have to do because it's actually illegal. So, you know,
True.
because it's not legal, then of course you're going to get kind of the criminal element and all the kind of bad things that are going to happen around it. Versus if it was legalized, you know, yeah, there's still going to be some problems. There's still going to be some messed up people. I mean, just like you have with alcohol. I don't think it's any different than alcohol, right? I mean,
Right,
I'd like to
yeah.
think about all these drugs the same as alcohol. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe they're harder drugs than alcohol, but it's the same kind of thing. I mean, somebody can go right now and go drink themselves to death if they want to, right? No problem. That'd be perfectly legal for them to do. You can't drive a car while you're intoxicated. Like, I feel like all the same things would apply if they legalize drugs. I mean,
Right.
I'm not like a drug guy. I don't have any desire to do drugs. I tell all our kids, stay away from drugs. Just like, you know, alcohol, like all these things can be things can really mess you up.
Yeah.
But it's just, I feel like it's causing more problems with it being illegal. Make it legalized. Go ahead and, you know, like, companies are going to be involved. Like, there's no more reason for these, you know, drugs to be streaming across the border and all the illegal activity that goes with that. Like, that all goes away.
So what do you think now with all these states bringing marijuana and loosening the reins on that, and it's legal in tons of places? And I feel like the number of people that I know that are indulging in different varieties of marijuana has really skyrocketed.
Is it any different than alcohol though?
No,
Right.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Right.
But
So,
do you think like?
and they're doing it anyways.
But I think there's a whole group of people that now that it is legal are trying it. So like
Yeah.
if they make crack legal, do you
Or
think
heroin or
yeah,
whatever
I
it
mean,
is,
do
yeah.
you think people that have like the law-abiding citizens of the world that have always been like, I mean, I see it in movies and they make it look fun. maybe I'd like to try heroin. I mean, what do you think like the pendulum will swing wide if they, do you think that will have an effect on society? I do. I mean, I think they should still be allowed to do it, but
Yeah. I do think potentially you would get more people doing it. But I like to think back to like, we used to have this thing called a public service announcement that you don't really see anymore, right? Like the Dragon Lady, remember that with the smoking and all that? Like, I mean,
do you know young people still smoke?
yeah, I know people still smoke. Yeah.
But young people start smoking.
Yeah.
It just blows my mind. I've never been a smoker, and so part of me is like, wow.
Yeah.
Not vaping, which is a whole other thing, but
Right.
like actually smoking cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, I don't think it's wise to, I mean, you should be nice to your body as you can, right?
Yeah.
Those things aren't the best, but, yeah, I think, sure. I mean, would more people be doing heroin if they can legally get it?
Yeah.
Probably. But again, like, would they be doing it in moderation? Would they, I mean, alcohol is very addictive, right? It is. Like, people become alcoholics. They have, I have trouble separating it from thinking about how we think about alcohol. Like, I think exactly how you see alcohol being treated now and marijuana where it's legal. I think it's the same thing. It's like, it's just going to be the same. Like you're going to have the people that are going to go overboard with it. And, but the thing that will be better is that you won't have all the illegal activity around it.
Sure.
And frankly, how much of our jails are going to be emptied out because in the need to imprison fewer people and have, more, kind of, people in society that they were drug addicts, right?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't that they were bad people. They maybe became bad people out of necessity to feed their drug habit and all the illegal activity that goes around that. Maybe some of those people are saved and not ending up in the prison system and everything else.
Yeah. I mean, I had an uncle when I was younger. He was in Vietnam. He came back and he got into some marijuana use and was arrested for that, and then did some jail time. And then like he just struggled to get away from the criminal system because of marijuana.
Yeah. Yeah.
Back in the like 70s, early 80s. And it was sad because he wasn't a bad person. He had good intentions in life.
And once you get into that prison system, it's hard to get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was kind of, to your point, like that cycle would kind of end if it were legal.
Yeah. Yeah. So I fully acknowledge that it's going to cause some new problems if that were to happen, if we were to straight up just legalize all drugs. But I also think it would fix a lot of problems, right?
Yeah.
So what's the
Yeah.
And I guess just to play devil's advocate against what I'm saying, if we legalize all the drugs we have now, somebody will come up with another drug that's not legal, and it'll be something new, right?
Sure.
But maybe we should just take the stance that you can ingest whatever you want to ingest. I mean, if you wanted to go ingest some stupid chemical concoction that you invented, like, go ahead, dude. Like, I don't recommend that.
Yeah.
But like, if it's not, it shouldn't be illegal.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. So, and I know that's going to make some people are going to violently disagree with that, but
yeah. I mean, if they made all drugs legal, I still wouldn't do heroin.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's how I feel about it. And,
Yeah.
and maybe that's why we view it the way we view it. Like, I'm not like, if you came to me tomorrow and you're like, hey, they just passed a new law and heroin and crack and cocaine and, whatever, all these other LSD and like, it's all legal. You can do whatever you want. And I'd be like, okay. I mean, nothing in my life changes.
Yeah.
You go have a party if you want to, but I'm not touching any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. Well, guess that's where I feel on that.
Yeah.
Anything else we should chat about?
Rock and roll. I mean, we've covered sex and drugs.
Rock and roll. Yeah.
We've covered sex, drugs, and politics.
Yeah. A little bit of politics. Yeah.
Wow.
I think we got on that subject because we were talking about Hunter Biden.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think, I don't know, man. If you're a strong TUI advocate, like I wouldn't be clapping too loud about when Hunter Biden got convicted of. I mean, believe me, like
No.
I don't like the guy, right? There's a lot of reasons not to like the guy.
Yeah.
Don't know him personally, obviously, but just based on what I learn of him on the news and other sources that talk about him, like, or, you know, like, yeah, I don't think he's necessarily a good guy
No, I
at
don't feel
all.
like you have to peel back too many layers to find something you could really
but
dig into.
but this isn't it. Like,
No.
why are you like figuratively shooting yourself in the foot? You're like,
Yeah.
yay, a Second Amendment unconstitutional infringement was just he was just convicted of that. Like, that's
Yeah.
not a celebrate. Like, I don't think you should celebrate that any more than you would celebrate for anybody else that was caught
Yeah.
up in something like that.
Yeah.
So
Like what we were talking about the other day, the kid that ordered the gun, but he was 18 and it was all.
yeah, I can't remember if we talked about that on one of our podcasts or that was just some other side discussion we were having. But yeah, there's
Anyways.
some lawsuits going on with
Craziness.
FedEx and UPS and all that. I can't remember if we talked about that or not. But
I don't think we did.
I'm not going to get into that now. It's getting too late in the day.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, hey, good chat. I think we're gonna wrap it up here and make this a little shorter of a ramble because
Wow.
yeah, I got stuff I want to do. So
Sounds good.
thanks for tuning in. If you did, hope you enjoyed it. You know, and we'll keep doing it. We're gonna keep doing it until we don't feel like doing it anymore. I don't know what that looks like yet.
So far, it looks like this.
So far, it looks just like this. Yeah. All right. See ya.
Bye.